Today, he oversees a nation of over 1 billion people, negotiates directly with global superpowers, and commands massive nationwide infrastructure projects. But decades before commanding the world's largest democracy, he poured tea at a local railway station. Born to a working-class family, he left home as a teenager, walking away from an arranged marriage to wander the Himalayas as a spiritual seeker. That solitary journey ended in 1971, when he channeled his search for purpose into the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, or RSS, a right-wing Hindu volunteer paramilitary organization. Here, he traded isolation for strict, regimented discipline. 4 years later, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi declared a state of emergency, jailing political opponents and banning groups like the RSS. Forced underground, he operated in disguise, building a covert network of safe houses and smuggling resistance pamphlets to the capital. Operating in the shadows required meticulous planning and decentralized trust. Long before he could rely on the centralized authority he wields today, he had to master the mechanics of political mobilization person by person. In 2001, the party leadership pulled him from the back rooms and installed him directly as the Chief Minister of Gujarat. He stepped into the role just as a catastrophic earthquake leveled entire districts, forcing him to learn executive governance during a massive recovery effort. The following year, extreme communal violence erupted across the state. Over 1,000 people, mostly Muslims, were killed. His administration faced heavy domestic and international criticism for its management of the crisis, severely damaging his public reputation. Facing immense political pressure, he launched an aggressive policy shift. He rebranded his administration around a singular focus: rapid, uninterrupted economic development, driven by small government and widespread privatization. He slashed bureaucratic red tape to establish specialized financial and technology parks. To broadcast this open-for-business posture, he launched the Vibrant Gujarat Summit, pitching the state directly to global investors and securing billions in foreign capital. The strategy yielded hard infrastructure. When Tata Motors faced protests in another state, he offered them land to build their assembly lines in Gujarat. At the same time, state-backed groundwater projects recharged depleted aquifers, sparking a boom in the local cotton industry. This animated chart maps out the resulting Gujarat model. As the line representing gross domestic product shoots upward, the state easily outperforms the national average in business rankings. However, the lower lines tracking human development indices like poverty relief and education remain relatively flat. Despite the uneven outcomes, this high-growth economic record provided the exact branding required to run for the highest office in the country. In 2014, he rode that pro-business reputation to a sweeping victory in the Indian general election. He transitioned from running a single state to governing a nation of 1.2 billion people. He immediately centralized power within the Prime Minister's office and deployed the tactics he honed in Gujarat on a massive scale. He launched Make in India, a campaign designed to aggressively attract foreign direct investment and turn the country into a global manufacturing hub. He paired this with the Smart Cities initiative, directing immense federal resources toward upgrading urban technology and infrastructure across dozens of major metropolitan areas. He also engineered highly visible social programs. The Swachh Bharat, or Clean India mission, mobilized millions of citizens and vast government funds to build millions of toilets and drastically improve public sanitation nationwide. But his most disruptive executive action came in 2016 with demonetization. By abruptly voiding all 500 and 1,000 rupee notes, he instantly wiped out 86% of the country's circulating currency. Massive, long lines formed at banks everywhere, and cash-dependent sectors of the entire economy ground to a halt. Looking at this bar chart, the initial economic shock is clear, but so is the strategic outcome. Within months, digital payment volumes spiked massively, bringing millions of off-the-grid transactions into the formal banking system, significantly widening the tax base. As the data morphs into this geographic heat map, we see those digital payment nodes spreading across the subcontinent. This sudden shock forced the population to adopt mobile banking, overhauling the logistical framework of the modern Indian economy. From sanitation to digital finance, These top-down directives proved he could take the fast-paced, highly concentrated administrative style developed in Gujarat and enforce it across the entire nation. This assertive scaling strategy extended directly into foreign policy. He pushed India away from its historical posture of non-alignment, where it traditionally avoided taking sides, and shifted toward aggressive, proactive global positioning. This network map illustrates his approach of multi-alignment. Rather than joining a single bloc, India serves as the central node, drawing concurrent, overlapping partnerships with competing global powers, securing defense pacts with the United States, while simultaneously trading heavily with Russia and Middle Eastern states. He pairs this broad diplomatic outreach with a rigid nationalist defense posture at home, taking highly publicized, aggressive military actions like the 2019 Balakot airstrikes across the de facto border with Pakistan. The man commanding these global negotiations and military strikes is the same person who, decades earlier, wandered the country with nothing but a few spare clothes. Narendra Modi's ascent relies on a potent combination of forces. By driving massive digital infrastructure overhauls, mobilizing highly visible social campaigns, and executing calculated global partnerships, he has solidified a dominant, centralized...
Today, Narendra Modi manages the world's largest democracy, positioning the nation as a dominant, unavoidable geopolitical force on the global stage. To understand the origin of this power, we have to go back to 1975. During the emergency, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi suspended Indian democracy and imprisoned her political rivals. In those years, Modi wasn't a public figure. He was an underground operative for the RSS, a right-wing Hindu nationalist organization. He spent the era in disguise, establishing safe houses and printing anti-government pamphlets. His success in coordinating these clandestine operations earned him a place in the BJP by 1985. From there, he began a rapid ascent through the party hierarchy. The turning point came in 2001. A 7.7 magnitude earthquake devastated the state of Gujarat, causing a total breakdown in local administration and leaving a leadership vacuum. The BJP responded by installing their top strategist as chief minister. It was a crisis appointment that began a new kind of political experiment. In 2002, a train carrying Hindu pilgrims was set on fire near Godhra. The event ignited weeks of anti-Muslim violence across Gujarat, leaving over 1,000 people dead. The international response was swift. While a Supreme Court investigation later found no evidence to prosecute him, the United States responded to the reports of human rights violations by revoking his visa. To survive the backlash, Modi shifted his focus. He moved away from sectarian rhetoric and began projecting the image of a hyper-efficient executive leader. He aggressively courted private industry, offering tax breaks and weakening labor laws to secure large-scale manufacturing deals, like the relocation of Tata Motors to the state. His administration focused on industrial-scale public works, like the Sardar Sarovar Dam. Under this approach, the state's GDP growth rose to 10%. This rapid growth functioned as a political shield. By delivering high-speed economic expansion, he was able to deflect attention from human rights controversies. But the data on the ground didn't always match the corporate success story. While industry boomed, social welfare lagged. Gujarat's rankings in education and child nutrition remained among the lowest in the country. This chart contrasts the two realities. While the green GDP growth line climbs steeply, lines for poverty relief and nutrition stay flat. That widening physical gap represents his central paradox, a thriving economy that didn't translate into improved health or literacy for the marginalized. To overcome these numbers at the polls, he utilized regional pride and Hindu nationalism. The Gujarat years established a specific formula. It showed that visible infrastructure and majoritarian appeals could outweigh a poor record on human development. In 2014, he took that formula to the national stage. Through a combination of social media saturation and vast rallies, he promised to bring his state-level successes to all of India. As Prime Minister, he replicated his earlier strategies. He prioritized nationwide transport upgrades and high-profile sanitation campaigns. But he also introduced shocks to the economy. In 2016, he invalidated the country's most common banknotes overnight, causing widespread public chaos and driving the unemployment rate to a 45-year high.
The strain on the state became critical during the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the WHO, the crisis resulted in 4.7 million Indian deaths, exposing the persistent gaps in the nation's healthcare system. Simultaneously, his administration moved rapidly to centralize federal power. The revocation of Kashmir's special status and the passage of the Citizenship Amendment Act sparked intense domestic unrest and sectarian friction. He maintained his popularity through nationalistic appeals and military flexes, like the 2019 Balakot airstrikes, even as international watchdogs warned of a decline in democratic freedoms. By demonstrating that a fusion of economic expansion and majoritarianism can remain popular through social crises, Modi has established a new precedent for the Indian state. The strategy developed in Gujarat has become the foundation of